like that's Mr. Crowley. Hello there, it's Sarah. I'm here on a Wednesday because I think I'm starting a new series, so we'll see how everybody likes this. My 12-year-old niece, Natasha, has been asking me a lot of questions about writing, and it's brought to mind the fact that I don't think about writing the same way I did when I started. So a lot of the questions that I just take for granted, I've never actually been asked, and I forget that they exist. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a very simple writing series, a series of basic writing tips and how to do everything as even the simplest thing. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take some tips off of Stephen King's On Writing and talk a little bit about those and why they're important, and then we can kind of expand on them in the future or talk about some more or less complex parts of the writing process. Number one, if you want to be a writer, you must do two things above all others: read a lot and write a lot. This is super important. You will never know what you like in writing, what you don't like in writing, what's important to you in writing, what you want to convey, different ways to do that. You'll never learn those things if you're not taking in lots of different writing. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be good writing, it doesn't have to be all fiction, it doesn't have to all be, you know, different genres. You can do whatever you want. You just want to take in as much as you can. If you can find something from a genre you don't like typically that you can go ahead and read, you should do that. It's exposing yourself to something new and different. So that's super important, and that's something that every writer does, whether they know it or not, at least every successful writer, because you don't expand your mind and you don't think differently and you don't learn these things if you're not reading a lot. As far as writing a lot goes, it doesn't all have to be good. It doesn't have to all be for other people. Keeping a journal is super useful for learning your writing style and learning your voice. Keeping a journal can be used to express feelings that you don't get to express elsewhere, but it can also just be used as a creative outlet. You can write down what you did today in the kind of tone you'd want a story to be in. You can talk about how upset you are about something as though it's a scene in a story. You can do whatever you want. That is, you can be as unfiltered as possible in a journal because it's your private thoughts and they should remain private if you wish them to be. So read a lot, write a lot. Those are both super important. Stephen King says the most interesting situations can usually be expressed as a what-if question. For instance, what if a evil man stole all of the symbols of Christmas from a town? There you have How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You know, very simple things. You don't need to make anything that's overly flowery. If you can express what your story's about either by saying it's the answer to this what-if question, which needs to be relatively short, or by a one-sentence explanation, then you're overthinking it and you're not giving yourself a simple enough explanation. It's really important to be able to boil that down because you need to know exactly what you have to get at through your story. So learning how to boil things down to that simple of an explanation can be very helpful. Talk, whether ugly or beautiful, is an index of character. You can give your characters a lot of different personality just through what they say. People speak differently than each other. You can usually tell, if you know two people, if they have a conversation just like written, that you can't hear any inflection, you can't hear the voices. If it's just written, you probably can tell who the two people are based on their voices. And I mean that audible voice. The different words they choose, the different types of answers and questions they make. It's just kind of a pacing, and each person has their own. It's the kind of thing that you pick up on as you read more and sometimes as you write more. Frequently it's called like voice, but every person has a voice. And your writing voice very well might be different than your speaking voice. My speaking voice is very different than my writing voice. All right, one of my very favorite quotes from On Writing is, "The road to hell is paved with adverbs." We are taught at a very young age that adverbs express clarity in thinking things. Sam played the tune lyrically. Those kinds of things, while they sound strong to begin with, actually become much stronger if you use a stronger verb, and then you don't need to use a better adverb. Instead of Sam played the tune lyrically, Sam's fingers sang the tune. We got rid of that lyrically, which is weak, and we described it from a different way. So people experience that more than they see it. And one of the things that conveys what you're trying to give people the most is by making them feel the thing rather than making them see the thing. The last one I'm going to do this week is description begins in the writer's imagination but should finish in the reader's. You don't have to describe every single aspect. What you want to do is you want to pull out the things that give the clearest example of who a person is. Her hair was in a ponytail. She wore a wedding ring, though there was no jewel. That indicates that I'm not trying to be terribly put together right now, and I don't have a terribly flashy ring. Also, I kind of just came up with that, so leave that. If you want to critique me, go for it, but I just came up with it. But that kind of a description tells people enough that they can put together the rest. They can put together that I'm not dressed up, I'm not probably wearing a full face of makeup, I'm probably pretty laid back, not terribly fancy. That's better than just telling them exactly what I'm wearing. I have one more. Set a daily writing goal. As with physical exercise, it would be best to set this goal low at first. I suggest 1,000 words a day. I don't necessarily suggest 1,000 words. 1,000 words can be very overwhelming, especially at a preteen kind of age. And as your typing improves, this might be easier. But, 250, 500 words, something like that would be a really good habit to get into, even if it's journaling or something. It doesn't matter what you're writing. The purpose of the daily writing goal is kind of several-fold. One is you're supposed to write a lot. We already talked about that back at the beginning. And number two is that the more you write, the more you get in the habit of doing so. And if you write 250 words a day today and every day for the next 6 months, you might think, I could do 500 words a day, this will be easy. And you bump up that. 6 months to a year later, you might bump it up again. So as you build a habit, it becomes easier and easier to maintain that. That's one of the things you can do to try to improve your writing, is just by setting a writing goal every day. It doesn't have to be a word count either. You can also do a time. Like, I will just sit down and write for 15 minutes every day. Whatever you can do. So it doesn't have to be at the same time every day. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to happen every single day. If you want to say every day except Tuesday because Tuesday night I have this thing. That's fine too, but you need to set up the rules ahead of time and then follow those rules so that that habit can build. One of the hardest things about writing is being self-motivated. You have to be the one to decide to do it. No one's going to make you do it. There are plenty of writers out there trying to sell their stuff. There are plenty of writers out there trying to get things, trying to hire editors, trying to get book covers made. There are plenty of people. So if you're not really interested in doing work, this might be something that you would more enjoy doing as a hobby. If you have any interest in being like a writer professionally, you're going to really need to learn the skill to motivate yourself and get things done. No matter how you get paid to write, that is the end of the day what you're going to have to do. So building that habit early, especially at, say 12 years old, that will give you a really good chance at actually being able to maintain that long enough for it to be useful. And that's true even if, you know, if you get into a high school newspaper or a college newspaper, or you start writing a WordPress blog or something like that. The consistency is still really important, because consistency is key. And one of the things about writing, especially if you're going to write something like a blog, is that they have to count on you putting your blog out when it's supposed to be out. Even if it's a monthly blog, they need to expect that on X day I get my blog. Unfortunately, if you're writing like a monthly blog, you're probably not making a living off of that. So that's the kind of thing you need to consider. You need to understand that a lot of writing jobs can pay you, but they don't necessarily all make rent. And at the end of the day, we all need somewhere to live. So remembering that this is gonna be work. It's not the easiest thing in the world. It sounds really romantic and beautiful when you're young and you haven't had, you know, your cat suddenly starts to pee blood, or, you know, you are out of money and everything's fine, and then you blow a fuse and it blows all the light bulbs in a room. And that happens to be a room that you need to be in. So all of a sudden you need to buy light bulbs and you're entirely broke. Those things happen, and if you're getting paid to write, you have to be consistent to be able to make sure that you can avoid those kinds of pitfalls. I know it's really early at 12 to be worried about making money specifically, but you are definitely old enough that you can start to think about what exactly you want with your life and what things you're interested in. You still have plenty of time to change your mind, but just keep in mind that if this is where you want to set your sights as far as like a long-term kind of like, I'd like to do this as a job, that it's going to still be work. It's not going to just be a bunch of fun. That's about the most I have to offer as far as advice. As far as today goes, I kind of didn't prepare a whole lot. If you have questions, leave them down below. I will be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. If you like this, please let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. If you want to know when my videos come up, hit that little bell down there, and that'll give you an update whenever I post, which I have regular live streams on Friday, and I have regular videos on Sunday. But if you want to know when I put up extra stuff or what time those the Sunday videos go up, the bell thing will do it for you. So that kind of does it for this video. I'm hoping to do this on Wednesdays, although Thursdays may end up working better because my husband does live stream on Wednesdays. So it kind of depends on if I can continue to fit it in between when I work and when he streams. And I'll link his down below too. He's got a Twitch that he does from 9 to 11 Central Time on Wednesdays. So I will get another video up by next week. I should have a pretty good idea if Wednesdays is as feasible as I'd like it to be. I'll let you know if it won't be, but hopefully it will be. And so if you have any questions that are from earlier in the writing process or from before you start the writing process, please let me know, leave them down below, and I will try to go over them in a future video. So have a good week, and I'll see you guys on Friday night at 7 p.m. for my live stream, Sunday for my video. So I will see you all later. Bye!